Hey everyone, welcome to the Industry Show. I'm your host, Nitin Bajaj, and joining me today is Sud Bhatija. Sud, welcome on the show.
Thanks, Nathan. Really excited to be here.
Great to have you here. Let's start with who is Sud?
So Sud is an entrepreneur. I grew up in a middle-class family in Bombay. I was actually trained as a physicist, but then I decided to go into business. And what motivated me to do that was that I found business to be a tremendous way where uh, there was an opportunity to create value at scale. This whole the mechanics of industrialist of industrial capitalist society allowed for you as a business owner to solve a problem that is valuable to others and create scale with it. And that idea really attracted me. And um, I was also given the opportunity and the privilege of a good education and the freedom to do what I wanted to. And I know that a lot of people don't have that. And I wanted to do something good with it. So after working, I started off my career in investment banking and in consulting, and then quickly moved over to startups. And in 2015, found my way to Silicon Valley to Stanford's graduate program in business. And that's really where I fell in love with this idea of the intersection of technology and the physical world. And like a lot of immigrants decided to not worry about student debt and start a business.
That's such an amazing story and journey, and I'm sure it's filled with a lot of twists and turns, including your move from, uh, being trained as a physicist and now being in the heart of Silicon Valley. So let's talk a little more about that. Tell us, what is Spot AI? What is the mission, the vision? Why do you do this, and why do this now?
Sure. So the interesting thing about being a physicist, and let me start there for a second, is it teaches you how to look at the world through first principles and think in first principles, and almost to a fault question everything until you understand every piece of it. That's definitely worked both ways for me in business, but I think it's definitely helped more than it hasn't. It also helped us. It helped me, at least identify this opportunity, and my business partners came to it in different ways. The mission of Spot AI is to create a safer and smarter physical world with the power of sight.
Mhm.
And the core premise of that is that the physical world of business is just very complex, right? There's just a lot of movement of people, vehicles, and things. And then problems have a way of surfacing in businesses, and often by surprise. And suddenly what feels like a really smooth day now descends into this frantic firefight. And if you think about visual sight and visual context, right? Seeing is 90% of sensory perception, and people say an image is worth 1,000 words, right? Uh, Finding and solving problems in business requires that visual context. So the mission of the business is to help shed the light on the physical world of different businesses, so that business owners and operators and professionals can make better decisions and keep their businesses moving. And what that translates today in terms of a product is, we build this AI camera system that allows businesses to instantly surface and resolve problems in their operations. The reason it's relevant and now is there's a combination of two trends that we saw happening that intersecting together created a large business opportunity. One is that video was becoming a huge deal in the consumer world in general, and the technology to be able to transmit process video was becoming a huge deal. And it was a medium that people were really picking up and getting to communicating with, because it's so rich in itself. So the question that we asked ourselves on the back of this sort of behavior change that we were seeing in the consumer world was, well, if people love it so much, why can't you use it in business? And given that there's so much opportunity, it can really solve a lot of problems. Which brings us to the other trend that we were seeing, which is the ability to very cheaply and effectively process video at the point at which it's created, which is the camera itself. Video is a very large data source, and moving video from place to place is just very expensive. Right. And crunching video and processing video is also very, very expensive. That's where edge computing comes in and video AI comes in. If you combine both those things, which are evolving at a very rapid pace year on year, you are able to index and analyze video and derive insights from it at a very low cost. And that the combination of both those things is what we saw as a very interesting business opportunity. If you could help people take all the data from all these cameras that they already have and help them make, very easily, cheaply process it and help them make decisions with it, it would create business value. And that's why we, do what we do right now.
Makes sense. Love it. And, I think the timing is great. I think I'm trying to remember one of the first notes we exchanged. There was a bit of a footnote in there that said something along the lines of the 1990s called and is asking for your videotapes or something. I can't remember, but that maybe you have an interesting quip over there.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, right? Like the number of security cameras in the world has been growing dramatically. There are about 1 billion security cameras in the world today. 1 billion with a B, and there are about 100 million cameras in the US alone. Mm-hmm. And the reason, and that number is about 2x what it was just about 7 years ago. Yes. And the reason that happening is because people are using video for all these different things. Mm-hmm. But the technology that they have to be able to view their video and to access it and to use it for decision making, for safety, for security, for efficiency is just very, very old. Mm-hmm. A lot of companies have these very old NVR network video recorders or even digital video recorders that record video. There's a keyboard, a mouse, and it's basically an interface that looks like Windows 95, and you access it by going into some back room in your office, right? That's the technology that's available today to a lot of these people, and it's really unfortunate because in our personal lives we have so much more, right? You have YouTube, you have Zoom, you have Hangouts, you have Snapchat, you have TikTok, right? You have a bunch of different things, and those worlds haven't met. And that's the opportunity that we saw to be able to tap into this need that people have to want to use video, but give them modern technology that we as consumers take for granted, but this isn't available in the business market.
Love it. And, you started talking about the size of the market. Give us a sense for the size and scale of your operations at Spot AI. And also what I'm particularly interested in is what's the impact, whether it's in terms of revenue or in terms of the market you've been able to address, or even if you have been able to create some sort of within the organizations, if there is a story that speaks to that impact.
Yeah, so the business has scaled pretty tremendously since we found product market fit in early 2020. Now we're a company of, I'd say, nearly 100 people. As a business, we are deployed across thousands of locations in the US. Mm-hmm. We serve customers right from small to medium businesses to Fortune 500 companies. Mm-hmm. We have customers across 17 different verticals that are using video several times a day mm-hmm. in their operations to make better decisions. So that trajectory of how customers use the product and why they buy the product is proving that core thesis that we had, which is like video is fundamentally a very useful data source in business and is very useful, and people are trying to use it more and more.
Congratulations on that scale. It's pretty amazing. Not surprising at all, given the team that's behind it, including you. And tell me about two things I'm really curious to know. Very exciting opportunity, but I'm sure there is challenges as you approach this market, these businesses and your customers. What's the one big challenge you would like to call out?
I think the biggest challenge that we face, and that I'd say particularly startups face, is mm-hmm. Building your organization. At the end of the day, it's all about the team and the people that you work with.
Mhm.
As founders, we front the business, and we talk about the future, but we really owe it all to our teams who actually do a lot of the work and make things happen. So as any business owner, the challenge is, how do you find the right people?
Mhm.
How do you create a culture in an organization that scales and makes good people want to work here?
Mhm.
And then how do you get all those people within that culture to work effectively together? And what are the processes you put in place? What are the rituals? What are the like how does your company operate? What is your operating cadence? And so those are the biggest challenges that we face, right? We are very grateful to have a phenomenal team and have built that, and grateful for all the people who have taken bets on us. But that's always the biggest challenge that we face, and it's
It's a
a
great
challenge that you have to
challenge.
keep solving.
Yes, and it's a great one, because when you're growing, you're scaling, you're having these opportunities to go back and look at what worked 6 months ago does not work anymore. Right? And on the flip side of challenges come opportunities. And I'm curious to hear the most exciting one that's on your plate right now.
I think I'd say, given how we see our customers using our product and taking up the product, we're more excited about the market today than
Mhm.
we ever have been. If you think about it, uh, structured data is about a third of business data.
Hmm.
And within that realm of structured data, there are a ton of companies that have been operating, right? Whether it's everybody from Snowflake to Tableau to Redshift, to every single database company, to BI companies.
Mhm.
Video data is actually 2/3 of business data, and nobody has tapped into that. And what we've been seeing over the last couple of years in the market, as customers have bought and used our product, is that when you give people easy access to video to use, to make decisions, and you give them insights based on that, they start using a whole lot more of it.
Mhm.
So what we see are monthly users of video becoming weekly users, and weekly users becoming daily users.
Mhm.
And that shift in the market is something that we think is here to stay and is only going to grow. Video is the largest source of data in the enterprise, and it's going to eventually become a very large source of insights and value in businesses. And that opportunity is something we're more excited about today than we ever have been. And the way we think about it is, how do we just get to that end state as fast as possible? How do we get more customers? How do we build product faster? How do we build the right team? So that's an opportunity that me and my partners get up every day and are just very, very excited about.
That's super exciting. And as we look forward, I think in terms of, I agree with your comment, the more easy and more accessible you make something, the use goes up, the opportunities come out of that, and we start wrapping our heads around what's possible. And then that in itself opens up a lot of new doors. Now, as we look forward, I'd love to take this moment and look back and you know look through your journey, your career, and I'd like for you to share two moments. One that was a success that blew your own expectations, and I would urge you to brag a little bit about that. And on the flip side of that, uh, an experience that did not work out as you had expected, was a failure and became a lesson uh, that changed you for better or worse. And so take your pick. Go with either one you want to
Sure.
first. Yeah,
Go with the failure. I mean,
sure.
I hesitate to call it failure, because at the end of the day, there are only learnings, right? And as long as you
Agree 100% with you.
don't make the same mistake twice, you're
Yes.
good. I think the biggest learning, particularly on this journey for us, for me as well, has been um, the story of how we actually found product market fit. So when we started going to market, the thesis was that we wanted to build a smarter camera.
Mhm.
And we spent a little over a year trying to go to different types of businesses and customers, selling them that smart camera. And we got the question that customers would keep asking us is, hey, this is cool, but like, I don't really want to change my cameras. So as very, enthusiastic and, and dogged entrepreneurs, we go to another customer to, figure out if they wanted that. And, in the end, we found product market fit when we questioned a very foundational assumption that we had about the business, that the product was all about the camera. And when we realized the product was about the software and we had to build software that worked with any cameras, is when we really found product market fit. And the lesson that we learned, it was, particularly as an entrepreneur, it's really important to have confidence in your vision. But I think the lesson there is that it's very important to have strong opinions, but hold them very weakly, because especially when you're early in a market and you're starting a business, right? You know a lot less than you don't know. And I think that realization it requires you to approach the problem in the world in a certain way where you're approaching solutions very enthusiastically, but you're absolutely ready to let go of them. And what becomes more important is, how do you then iterate towards the answer, and how much are you learning and how fast are you learning? Because the iteration is what will take you to the right answer. So that sort of experience of 1 year of figuring out where we had to go was that great, learning experience in life. And what's interesting particularly was that what we ended up doing was actually one of our first customers told us. So that was a very humbling realization.
Nice circle back. So love that.
Circle back, exactly. And success story, I think I covered a little bit of it, but what I'm really proud about and would love to talk about is just the team we've built here, right? We're a company that's growing, 700% every year, and a lot of credit goes to both my co-founders actually. But we've built a strong, passionate team of people that chose to take a bet on us, particularly the early folk when we didn't have a whole lot, and said, yeah, cool, these guys are cool, we should go work with them. And we're and all the folks who have joined us along the way, we're just grateful for their partnership and for them choosing to be part of this journey with us and define it, right? And they're people who we learn from every day, and we're just very proud of that. And so like that is the accomplishment that I'm currently most proud of in my life, is just the team and the company we built so far.
Such a great accomplishment, and it's so amazing to be surrounded by people that believe in you, trust in you, and vice versa, and it makes it so much easier to deal with these challenges that we have to deal with as a startup, as a business, and just generally in life. Right? So really glad you found a good group of people that you love to hang out with, and in the process, make a good impact on the business community. Let's use that as an opportunity to segue into my favorite part of the show. I call it the one-line life lessons. Would love to hear some of your life lessons, whether they have come to you through others or through your own experiences, and have come to define how you work, how you think, how you carry yourself in your personal and professional life. So,
Sure. Few that come to mind are, I think one which we just spoke a bit about is, there are no failures, there are only learnings.
Yes.
I think at the end of the day, I like to define myself just not based on the mistakes, but based on how fast I learn from them, and iterating towards the right answer and sort of and then getting it right in the end, and it's not about being right, it's about getting it right. Yes. And that's actually one of the values of the company that I feel very strongly about. Another one is knowing yourself is probably the most important thing. Like, you're never going to understand other people if you don't understand yourself, and your own mind and your own behavior is an endless source of learning when it comes to just like navigating the world, right? Because you're not very different from other people, and they're not different from you. And if you understand that, you learn a lot from people by just like learning a lot about yourself. Another one that's really important is focusing on what you can control. Particularly as a founder, there are many elements that are out of your control, and you're trying to almost wrestle with reality sometimes. But I think the best way to get through that I found is just focusing on what you're able to do and what's in your control, and focusing on the process and the problems that you can solve, and just taking it one step at a time. And there are many things that in a difficult situation you want to start thinking about. Well, what if this happens? But the learning is not to focus on that, right? Because you can't control those outcomes. Focus on the only constant, or the only element that's fully under control, which is yourself, and then that that peace of mind helps you focus on the right solutions, and ultimately makes you more effective at finding answers to problems. Then the flip side of that also is, which is another learning, is what doesn't kill you make you stronger.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, you should, you don't want to be afraid of falling down. You want to be, in fact, that if you're not falling down, that means that you're not, doing, you're not really pushing your boundaries, and then the lessons of situations, or like the learnings that you get from situations where you fall down and you have to pick yourself back up, things that don't kill you, but like those are the sort of experiences that define you and make you a whole lot better for all the different situations that you fail in the future. And you would not have built that capability had you not fallen down to begin with. So that's another life lesson. And I think the last one, I guess, it's actually surprisingly simple, but I think it's something that guides me every day, is asking the right question is just is foundational to finding the right answer. I think it was Einstein who said that if he had 60 seconds to solve a problem, he'd spend 55 seconds framing the question. I think that is highly, highly underrated. Because there are many different ways it can go, and sometimes you're circling on solutions because you don't have a very clear problem statement. So defining that problem statement is knowing what you're solving for is just absolutely crucial. So yeah, those are some learnings that define how I operate on a daily basis.
Thank you for sharing those. And I think it gives me, whenever I hear these from people we bring onto the show, it gives me such a clear perspective of what the person is made of and what drives them. And really appreciate you sharing your story, your journey with us. Congratulations again on the success so far. And would love to stay in touch, bring you back on as you have more success stories to share with us. And of course, some learnings. Once again, thank you, sir, for making the time, and really appreciate you.
Thanks, Sathan. This was great. Thank you for having me.